So a while back, I started another channel, Uncle Carl's Storytime, and I never really followed through with it. I'm going to go back and work on that channel a little bit more. I'm getting a little exhausted with the politics. But I invite you to come over and check it out, should you like. I haven't got much posted there yet. I've led a very storied life, no pun intended, and I'll tell a number of stories. But this is from a novelette that I wrote about 6 years ago, and I had thought about pursuing having it published. But then 2020 happened. I lost my job because I wouldn't, and the publishing industry, there were some changes, and I lost my contacts and so on. So anyways, then I got political, never pursued it. So I'm going to read a part of a chapter here, Tractor Ballet Gone Bad, and I will do one chapter, perhaps a day, and I'll see what else I splash on the channel. Check it out. Anyways, this is a true story with true, real characters, except for one fictional one I put in the middle for my own amusement. And it contains coarse language, and I think you'll see if you follow along how it cannot contain coarse language. It would just be farcical were there not. It's coarse language, it's not rude. When I wrote this and edited it and all that stuff, it was received very well by women readers and not by men. I don't know what to make of that. Let's get into it. I do remember the time frame of this story accurately. The previous year we'd moved off the farm, subletting the house to Ernie Dare and his wife Diane. It was late March and I just turned 14. It was an early morning on a Saturday, miserable and cold with a blustery, strong wind howling from the north. I was in the driving shed. I just pulled the contraption I'd built of 2x4s and plywood off the snowplow of the little 9N tractor that I used to haul hay out into the fields to feed the horses and ponies. I was startled when my friend Todd arrived, inquiring breathlessly, "What are you up to?" Now, Todd and I, while being quite tight buddies in years past, had drifted somewhat apart, and I was a little taken aback to find him standing there, all the more so considering the inclement weather. Todd, as were many boys our age, was an avid league hockey player, and he informed me the weather had been the cause of cancellation for a scheduled game, and hence he thought he'd just drop by. In response, I had said I had one more hay bale to feed the herd, and I intended to just toss it over the fence into the barnyard as I'd had my fill of the weather. "Oh, come on," Todd said, yammering a hay bale onto the plow. "I haven't seen the horses for a while. I'll get the gate for you." And so off we went, rounding past the little barn into the front field to the south of the farmhouse. Todd said, "Hey, wow, I've never seen the field like this. It's a sheet of glass. How about letting me do some tractor ballet down there?" "No," I replied, "it all slopes down to the stream, and we don't want to end up down there." As we were now approaching the herd, Todd's focus changed orientation, and he happily scampered off the fender of the tractor and kicked the hay bale apart. Todd climbed back onto the fender, and we sat chatting about the horses as the wind lashed and the heavy dark clouds drifted across the sky above us. "Hey, look there," Todd said. "If you don't want to take the tractor further down the field, how about you let me dance it just here at the edge past where they're eating?" "I don't know, Todd. It's kind of rough and tight in there." "Yeah, you're right," he responded well-naturedly. "It's been a while since I've driven the old girl. But hey, come on, you can do it. Come on, man, for old time's sake, tractor ballet," he yelled into the lashing wind. And so, with a combination of youthful exuberance and a disregard for my own mortality, and no doubt the influence of peer pressure, I said, "Okay, hang on." Swinging the steering wheel madly about and working the throttle against the one functioning brake, we proceeded to slide about in a circular fashion, dodging the hummocks of grass, rocks, and frozen horse droppings. Once, twice, 3 times we spun about, slowly gaining speed as the worn old rubber tires thrashed on the frozen ground. Yahoo, tractor ballet, Todd yelled. Take her around one more time. Against my better judgment, of course I did. A particularly fierce gust of wind caught us broadside, and any semblance of control I might have had was lost. Fuck, Todd yelled. Hang on. Todd, I yelled, hang on. I'm not sure how much coarse language YouTube's going to let me away with here. Anyways, my efforts to regain control were obviously in vain as we shot sideways towards a particularly large patch of grass protruding up from the frozen ground. Oh shit, Todd yelled as the old tractor's left wheel hit the patch square on. Up on two wheels went the old tractor, and Todd was flung off his perch on the right fender and pinned me against the left. Mercifully, the tractor did not roll, but continued to spin out of control as, cursing wildly and thrashing about desperately, I tried to extract myself from beneath Todd's bulk. Todd cursed and thrashed about with equal exuberance, but in the time it took for him to get off me and me to get a hold of the controls of the tractor, it had all taken a desperate turn for the worse. Get off, Todd, I screamed in panic. What? He yelled back in obvious confusion. I said, get off the fucking tractor while you still can. The draw has got us. Frantically working the wheel brake and clutch in an effort to stop the tractor's top-like spin. Todd was silent as he looked about, surveying the situation. So what's the big deal? The draw's got us and the wind's got us. We'll drift across the field and down to the stream. I don't get what you're making such a damn fuss about. Still desperately battling our wild spin, I yelled to Todd in response. It's not a damn stream anymore, Todd. It's a fucking ravine. What do you mean a ravine? Since when there's a ravine on the farm? Todd replied, confusion and consternation evident in his voice. I didn't respond for a moment or two as I was finally getting the old tractor straightened out. Todd was silent as I finished getting the tractor aimed straight up the draw and set the throttle wide open. The slope of the draw, in combination with the wind at about 45 degrees angle to the straight on to us, was master to the tractor's minuscule traction, and the wind slicked ice, and we were slowly picking up speed. With the gusting wind hammering the tractor neither straight nor onside, but in the wild and predictable alterations, my hands were full trying to keep the drivetrains in opposition to our plight. I managed to look over my shoulder at Todd, and my facial expression must have spoken volumes. How much trouble are we in, Scott? A world of it, Todd, I replied, my voice rising as a nasty gust set me busy with the clutch, throttle, and brake again in an effort to keep the tractor from spinning. What's this ravine business? Todd asked when I finished battling get the tractor straight. My concentration was tasked by the task at hand, and I said, a ravine. I said, a hole in the fucking ground with mostly straight sides? You're shitting me, Todd said. There's never been anything but a stream there. It's just above the old spring in the pond. Just then a particularly violent gust assaulted us, and the resultant battle not to lose control of the tractor was once more as protracted as it was desperate. You're shitting me about this ravine, right? Todd asked somewhat plaintively when I'd managed to get us squared off again. Do I look like I'm shitting you, Todd? The combination of the look on my face, the obvious desperation with my efforts to keep the tractor driving in opposition of the wind and gravity, and no doubt some time for reflection, compiled in Todd's awareness. He asked, how big is this ravine? It's 60 or 80 yards or so, upstream from the spring at the top of the pond, I replied, pausing to fight another blast of wind. How deep? 6 or 7, I don't know, 10 or more at the spring. You gotta be shitting me. How in the hell did that come to be? Todd cried in alarm. Well, it started slowly years back when Dad had the pond dug out, but when filled in the swamp for the town works up above the farm, that's when it really started. The spring runoff's a torrent compared to what you'd remember. By now we traveled roughly a third of the distance from our ill-fated entry into the draw on the west side of the field. We figured it was another 200 or 300 yards to the ravine. 10 minutes. The tractor drifted along at the pace of a slow walk as I learned to keep it nosed about 1/4 into the wind, which served considerably to lessen the havocs the gusts wrought upon my efforts to keep the wheels driving straight. We still had a couple of more good scares and a host of lesser ones, but all things considered, our situation was about as stable as it could be now. What are we going to do, Scott? We can't bail off the tractor. The wind's got us up against the south side of the draw. We get off that side, we'll slide under the tractor. We get off the north, we'll get blown under. I guess I'll read this whole chapter anyways, so I don't have to film it twice. Yeah, well, that's what I was screaming at you to get off at the start, I responded. My hands are full here, Todd. Look, is there a bump or a lump or a tuft of grass, a rock, anything you put a wheel to? Anything at all? Nothing, not a damn thing. Excuse me. I've skated worse than this. Would make a Zamboni driver weep in envy. Oh, Scott, I can see the ravine now. I'm not liking our odds. We go tumbling down there. Well, rack that chunk of wood you call a brain, Todd, and keep your eyes peeled. I'll take anything you can throw at me, I yelled back. Hey, what if we dropped the blade? Think it would crash through the ice? No, I don't want to chance it. The only hope's to go straight in and land on the blade. The closer we get, the more desperate I am that we go in straight. And we're not on full forward. It's just the faster we go. But now Todd and I were speed rapping. Todd was throwing out notions left and right and center. What if I threw a toque under one brake? No, we'll spin. What if I threw my gloves under both wheels at the same time? No, the tractor only has one brake. We'll spin. Todd, keep thinking. Blah, 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 throwing ideas back and forth at myself. Anyways, how do you think I'd get my jacket off and keep control of the tractor anyway? I skipped a couple lines there. I don't know. You said to think. I'm getting a bit desperate here. Well, you're a late fucking bloomer if you're just getting desperate now. Just then our witty repartee was blown asunder by a mighty blast of wind. By the time I managed to get the old tractor straightened out, we'd lost more ground in that blow than any previous four. Todd panting as hard as I was as he perched on the fender. You know what I'm thinking? What? I gasped. I think it's a goddamn good thing you didn't let me drive earlier. How in the hell you managed that one? I'll never know. Well, thanks, Todd, I responded, looking up over my shoulder. But if you're thinking don't come up to speed with my driving soon, like, we're going to end up in that hole for sure as shit. Well, it's a good thing I work well under pressure, was Todd's retort, because that one just blew us halfway across the halfway mark from the looks of it. Silence. Tractor's paddling along, the wind's pushing us down the draw. Well, I said. Well, what? Replied Todd. Well, I thought you sounded like you had a notion there for a minute, I said with no small degree of exasperation. Well, I don't know what fucking notion gave you the notion. I ain't got any fucking notion, Todd barked. Sorry, Todd, it was the pressure thing there, I said apologetically. All right, sorry, Scott. The closer we get to that damned hole, the more scared I get. There was silence except for the racing motor, the soft swish-swish paddling of the tire lugs on the glass-smooth ice, and the howling of the unceasing, merciless winds. It's flatter down there. Looks as flatter as it goes. I think we might be slowing a bit. What do you think, Scott? Yeah, I responded. We're slowing a bit. As I battled another gust of wind to try to keep us on line and not spinning. Damn that wind, Todd cursed. Every time it gusts, you have to use the brake to counter and we lose more ground. I didn't bother with any reply. We're running out of time and ground here fast. What if I climbed onto the blade? Do you think with my added weight it would punch through the ice? Todd asked, albeit none too enthusiastically. Not unless you got a Buick lashed to your back. There's got to be 2 feet of solid ice. It'd be grass poking through, I responded, fighting yet again the gusting wind. If you've got the nerve to climb down off that fender onto the lift arms, that might help. Excuse me. My apologies. Todd, never lacking in nerve, was already in motion. Feet on the lift arms and straddling the top link, he yelled, "What you thinking? My weight further back going to help with traction on the ice?" I wasn't thinking that so much as you sitting up the fender catching all the wind with this all this time, you fat bastard, I yelled back. Well, I don't know why you didn't get the notion sooner, Todd responded. Having implemented some kind of positive action had the effect of lifting our spirits somewhat. Todd being down off the fender did indeed make my job at the helm easier. Look down there, Todd yelled enthusiastically. Back to your left. Look, see? That bit of a wash down into the draw. See it, look up. Look how it turns to snow about halfway. Can you do it? What do you think? Can you do it? Stop bouncing about, Todd. Okay, can you do it? Look. Snow about halfway up. You just got to get the front wheels to that snow and we'll settle in and climb over the hood and we'll be home free. Shut up and sit still, Todd. I studied the wash, casting a quick glance down into the ravine and grimaced. There was no real hurry. I had a couple of minutes to make the call. Knowing Todd must be about fit to bust with anticipation, I did my thinking out loud. You know, I've only got the wind to turn us up into that wash. If I start too early or a big gust hits us, I'll have to fight it with the brake. We'll lose our speed and I don't think we'll make it up to the snow. Then we'll drift back down and I'm not sure I have time to brake or square into the wind before we're in the ravine. Now, knowing Todd knew well and full what was entailed in that maneuver, I didn't wait for a reply but continued on. Worse yet, if I start with no brake on the left, the front wheels will bounce off the corner and the wind will have us and we'll be into that ravine like a spinning top. This is a one-shot deal, Todd. It's do or die, and I don't think I'm joking. What do you think? Well, I think if you don't try it, we're in that ravine for fucking sure. Okay, I'm going to go toward it, but if I have to bail out early if it goes bad, if it's good, we're going to go in wide open, and if that's the case, that the wind will be at our back, and you stand up and catch all the wind you can. Yeah, Todd cried enthusiastically. Do it. This'll work. I took some cursing out there. If heaven forbid I had to perform that maneuver 50 times over, I'd have nailed it better. Yeah, blanking who, Todd yelled, standing up, spreading his arms and leaning onto my back. Perfect, Todd yelled with wild exuberance. Couldn't have been better, we're home free. Now, after drifting down the draw at the pace of a slow stroll, the tractor's top speed of about 10 miles an hour seemed positively giddy as we raced up the wash I turned into. Pegger, pedal to the metal, we're out of here, Todd cheered wildly. Catch the wind, Todd, we're out of here, I cheered in return. The tractor began to slow, its wheels spinning. Peg it, Todd yelled desperately. It is, I yelled back with equal desperation. 4 feet, we need a lousy damn 4 feet more. Do something, Scott. Bounce, Todd, bounce. Maybe the crust is just ice here. It's just a crust. Bounce. Todd bounced and cursed with equal measures of enthusiasm as the tractor slowed, stopped, and began to drift back down. Todd strung expletives together as I wistfully watched what we perceived as our salvation slowly recede. The ice in the wash was rougher than that out on the draw, and with the wind square at our back, our drift down would have been painfully slow had our fate upon exit not been so distasteful to contemplate. It did, however, afford lots of time for Todd to string more expletives together in a myriad of fashions. Our travel down the wash, while being so slow as to be barely perceptible, was inarguable, and Todd grew silent. Now, few would call Todd stupid, and the comparative quiet of our time in the wash, his brain had obviously not been confined solely to cursing. Your plan all along is to put her down in square on, drop the blade, and hope it's not so deep that she rolls over, Todd put forth, more a statement than a question. That's right, I responded. I can't see any other hope. After a few moments of contemplation, Todd responded, well, you're right. What's our margin, you figure? 6, 8 feet? Any deeper than that, she'll roll. Yeah, something like that. Shit. What's on the bottom, you figure, Todd asked, his brain still obviously in rapid contemplation. Ice? Water? What? I'm not sure, Todd. Out of curiosity, I came down last week for a look, see all this funky weather, rain and melting and freezing. Like you said earlier, I've never seen anything like this. Yeah, Todd said with a note of exasperation. But what's in the bottom of the fucking hole? Well, it was ice last week, but there's water flowing over, call it the waterfall. The water's coming over there, something fierce. Shit. So we'll probably punch through the ice. That could be good or bad, Todd said, continued on. Sorry, thinking out loud. How deep is the water under the ice, you think? I don't know. Got to be a foot or two to judge by the flow. Can't see it being more than 3 feet, but I don't know for sure. Shit, Todd said again. What do you think's under the water? Silt, gravel, bedrock? I couldn't tell you, Todd. It was covered in ice. Shit. You need another expletive, Todd. Oh, shit, no, Todd quit back. Shit's a good one, because that's what we're in. We'll be at the bottom of the wash pretty quick. Think you can turn her into the wind and hold her steady? Hate to contemplate our fate if I can't. Shit. We're about near there. I've some fearsome be awful glad you're driving and not me. What do you want me to do? Stay up there big and fat in the wind until we're about halfway turned and then hunch back down. It's that last part of the turn that's do or die. Shit, I wish you wouldn't use that term. Oh, I wish you'd stop saying shit. Now shut up, we're here, I barked. The old tractor came to a momentarily stop at the intersection of the wash and the draw. As working the brake against the throttle, I swung the nose out into the wind. I could hear Todd saying under his breath, "You can do it, you can do it." Get down out of the wind when I yelled down, Todd. But if I yell up, then you get the hell up out of those lift arms. You don't want to be caught down in there if I can't hold her out of a spin. Well, don't worry about me, he yelled back. The fight to get the old tractor quartered into the wind was a frightful and exhausting experience, but I managed it. Drawing a quick breath as I got the old girl settled once again and angled into the wind, I was startled when Todd said, "Holy fucking shit, I never thought in a million years you could have pulled that off." "What do you mean?" I asked somewhat petulantly. "Whole damn time it was, you can do it, you can do it." Well, I didn't want to sound discouraging. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Okay, buck up. This is no time to get all sensitive, like Todd said sternly. Conversation ceased momentarily as we mutually appraised our current situation. Our unsuccessful attempt to extricate ourselves from our predicament via the wash, while exasperating, had served to slow our rate of travel considerably. "What do you think?" Todd inquired. "We come to a near dead stop, then that wind gusts, and we lose another 2 or 3 feet, and then again. Stop, drift, and repeat. We haven't got much time left, Scott." "How far you figure we are out, Todd?" I asked, my attention focused on keeping our drift quartered into the wind. 30, 40 feet maybe. "Flattens right out at the end, don't it? Looks like, Todd answered. "Kind of curls up like right at the edge, don't it? Like a lip of sorts?" Yeah, I see that now." There was a note of hope in his voice. "How proud you figure it stands up?" I asked. "Hard to say. Maybe 3-4 inches?" We were speed rapping again. "Damn, I was hoping for 6 or 8. "I get it. You're hoping the lip will be enough to stop us. Well, you gonna put the blade into it?" And then answered to his own question. "Oh shit, never mind. No downward pressure on the blade. Watch and call out the distance, Todd." Our banter was now at a frantic pace. "I want to come in at 45 degrees and let her straighten her drive wheels onto that lip." Yeah, I get it. 15 feet. "Don't stay down in them arms, Todd." Yeah, 12 feet. Damn the wind. 10 feet. "Get your ass out of them arms, Todd." "Don't worry, I'll come up out of here like a rabbit." 8 feet. "Fucking wind." 6 feet. 4 feet, Todd yelled. Excuse me, as I could feel him come up onto the fender. 3 feet, Scott. 2 feet. I could feel Todd's boots as he wedged them in under the tractor seat. I could hear Todd's voice shrill in panic. 1 foot, you're on it. Fucking perfect. We're coming around square. Both wheels and lip. Good. Oh shit, that fucking wind," he said as the rear wheels rose an inch up the lip. The tractor paused as if in indecision, and then another gust hit and we rose another inch. Todd continued to shrilly report our status amongst a plethora of curses. Another gust, and we rose another inch. 1 inch was all that was left to the top of the lip. Todd had fallen silent. Another cool blast of wind, and the rear wheels began to rise at the top, and in that frozen moment, I heard Todd say, "Oh shit." But it was just sort of a wistful moan. And that's the end of chapter 1. Wow, that was 25 minutes. Woo.